All right, so here we are. We're going to talk about the Music Modernization Act real quick. There's just a few things I don't like about it. There are some great stuff in it. I will bring up the bill so we can look at the things that we don't like. So the Music Modernization Act is going to do some really cool stuff. It's definitely going to get you. It's going to get you more money, likely, because they are upping what you get paid as an artist. It's going up from like 10 to 15. That didn't have everything to do with this, but it had quite a bit to do with this, because it used to get paid out at around 10%. Now you're going to get paid out at around 15%. And this bill had a lot to do with that, because your streaming companies were sick of the lawsuits. There were a lot of lawsuits where they couldn't find who to pay, or they didn't know who to pay, and they wound up in court and they're paying lawyers rather than musicians. And that wound up being a real negative for them. So they decided that, hey, we can give you this if you give us this Music Modernization Act. Now, this creates a body that will act as a royalty finder. They're going to find and locate who they owe royalties to. So this body will go and they'll find, hey, we owe this to this songwriter, this to BMG, and so on and so on, and then it could be paid out that way. Now, there's something really upsetting in the bill, and maybe just to me, because I've spent so much time as an independent musician, and I work with so many independent musicians. You're going to have accrued funds from all your streams. Now, if they can't find who to pay, those accrued funds, after 3 years of being there and not finding who to pay, are going to go straight to the biggest publishers. So the people who have absolutely nothing to do with that music, because if they were involved, they would have been able to locate the unmatched work, are going to get the money from these independent musicians who they can't find. Now, what you need to do is we need to keep an eye out on what they're doing. So they're doing is a period where they have 3 years to locate you, and they also have to provide the information somewhere public. We don't know where public, because it's not in this bill right here and what I'm reading, but they say they have to publicize it. It actually says right here, shall publicize the existence of accrued royalties for unmatched musical works. But we don't know where they're going to publicize it, and we should put a little pressure to find out where it's going to be. Maybe start a group around it. When we find this type of stuff, make sure it's on Facebook. Make sure you throw it up on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. Be like, hey, whose song is this? We could really stop us from giving our money away to people who had nothing to do with our music. So just to point out where in the bill this sort of thing is, we have distribution of unclaimed accrued royalties. Okay, so after the expiration of the prescribed holding period for accrued royalties provided in subparagraph HI, and that period is 3 years. I'll link this so that you can read it. That's a 3-year period. The mechanical licensing collectives shall distribute the accrued royalties along with proportionate shares of accrued interest to copyright owners identified in its records, subject to the following requirements and in accordance to the policies and procedures established under Clause 2. So the recipients are not going to be the people who made the music. They are going to be the people who are big publishers. So let's see where they talk about that in this bill. Distribution policies. This is what happens when you do these things live. I've read this whole bill. I gotta find where this is now. Here's mechanical licensing. Maybe I could find it. Here we are. I read right over it. Okay. So here we are here. Payment shares for unclaimed accrued royalties for a particular reporting period shall be determined in a transparent and equitable manner based on data indicating the relative market shares of such copyright owners as reflected by royalty payments made by digital music providers for covered activities for the periods in question, including, in addition to royalty payments made to the Mechanical Licensing Collective, royalty payments made to copyright owners under voluntary and individual download licenses for covered activities to the extent such information is available to the Mechanical Licensing Collective in furtherance of the determination of equitable market shares under this paragraph. So all they're saying is who is the biggest licensees, who is the biggest royalty accruers will get that money according to the amount of market that they own, which seems insane to me. So there's a few things that we have to do. I mentioned a few of them. You've probably seen a screen in a screen. I mentioned a few of them, but we really want to see where they're going to publish this information about unclaimed accrued royalties, and we want to make sure that everyone we know knows about it. So that's really what I wanted to get at. It's what I wanted to share with you. I hope this helps you out with this idea here, because everyone's telling me how great this is, how fantastic this bill is. This is not a great thing unless we could really get everyone on the same side here and tell our friends and tell independent musicians where to go to check if they have any royalties rather than giving it to the biggest music companies in the world. All right, guys, thanks for being with me on this one. If you want to talk more about this, let me know. But yeah, we just tried the live stream out. I wanted to try it out a few times. It's pretty fun, but I want to see if you guys like it. Let me know if you do, and we'll go from there. But I'm about to cut this off, and we will talk soon.